I'm Einstein George, and today we are looking at a new game called Bloodhunt, which, if you haven't heard of it, imagine Fortnite for adults without the building mechanics, with a side order of supernatural vampire fun. If you've ever heard of it, this is set in the Vampire the Masquerade universe, which is an RPG tabletop game released in 1991. We're going to be looking at everything you need to know when starting and some helpful tips to give you the edge when you start playing, so let's get straight into it. This is an incredibly enjoyable free-to-play battle royale which you can play in its beta stage right now on PC and will be coming to PS5 in the future. No news on whether it'll be on Xbox gang, but keep your undead fingers crossed. 45 players in either trios or solo mode compete for victory in the historical city of Prague. And like all other battle royales, of course the map slowly closes, forcing you into fights. Unlike other battle royale modes, however, with this fun vampire twist comes 3 different classes of vampire you can choose, or 6 different vampires, all with a variety of different powers. I may get into this more in a different video, but for a quick intro, each class of vampire has 3 powers, one of them being a passive ability, and they potentially include jump abilities, ground pounds, invisibility, teleportation, blink, healing abilities, barriers to stop incoming fire, abilities to reveal enemies, charming NPCs, and blinding your enemies. If you've ever played Overwatch, you'll find a lot of similar abilities in there. There are a variety of weapons in the game, from melee weapons to long-range sniper rifles. The point is that you'll choose your vampire class depending on your playstyle. Take the Brawler class for example. They have the ability to jump great distances as well as ground pound the enemy. It makes sense that you play this class using medium to close range weapons, maximising the abilities to suit the weapons they're using. You could also take the Saboteur class with its invisibility, gas mines and dash ability, and then pick up a sniper rifle and head up to a nice big rooftop, taking out your enemies from afar, placing those gas mines in specific spots and moving silently across the map. Now this would be my biggest piece of advice when starting. What sort of playstyle do you think you'll use? Then pick your class and find the right sort of weapons to then dominate on the roofs of Prague. Learn just 1 or 2 classes when you start and you'll soon find you're absolutely destroying the enemy with your well-tuned skills. When the game starts, you'll be in a starting room where you'll be able to interact with some NPCs for a bit of lore, as well as being to also interact with other players. There wasn't much to do here, but I imagine when the full game releases this should be a much more interesting area. The spawning in system in Bloodhunt is common to other battle royales. Just choose which spot on the map to begin in, but unlike Fortnite, Apex Legends and Warzone, you won't be starting in the sky, you'll spawn right on the ground. You'll also see a small radius around you where the other players will be spawning nearby, so you can choose your spawn point carefully. And just before the match starts, you'll also see the location of all enemy players, giving you some indication of which direction you might want to start heading in. I would also say before playing, be prepared to die a lot. It's a shame there isn't a practice area for you to properly explore and learn which class works best for you, and you may find particularly for your first hour or so, you're getting battered by opposing players. But persevere though, because once you've learned a class and know your playstyle, that's when the enjoyability factor really comes into play. When starting, you'll want to level up as quickly as you can before engaging in fights. Start rushing around looking for decent weapons. You'll actually see some high tier weapons where they're marked at the beginning of the game, and then start feeding on humans to gain some extra passive abilities. This, of course, being a vampire, also recharges your health, and I may go into more details on the types of abilities when draining humans in a future video, but for now, just get feeding. Another one of the most significant parts of the game is the set of rules involved, that the existence of vampires remains a secret towards humanity. This includes not getting caught by sucking on humans or shooting the humans. Whomever breaks the Masquerade will be revealed on everyone's map for 60 seconds and will also be visible to other players with a red outline that can be seen across the whole map, even through walls. Other things to note are all players, whether trios or squads, will have to be finished upon downing them. And if you can diablerize players to go right back up to full health while also adding an extra perk to your character. Diablerize basically means a finishing move where you drain your enemy. And if you don't get killed within 30 seconds of being downed, you will automatically res yourself with a little starting health, but this won't happen very often, though unless perhaps the guys who have just downed you are being third-partied. You can also be resed by your teammates from revival stations dotted around the map, but watch out for enemies. There are also NPCs on the ground to fight called the Entity. This is a group of humans dedicated to eradicating vampires, and they can deal some serious damage very quickly, so do watch out. Killing them, however, can bring you some decent rewards of weapons and armor though, and you'll see them on the map noted by a red cross. You can also diablerize them for more abilities, though you can only hold no more than 7 abilities in total. I was lucky enough at one point to actually be saved by the Entity soldiers, so they can come in useful rather than just being a hindrance. You'll find in this game not only is there a lot of fighting on rooftops and running up walls, but there's a lot of attacking and retreating, and that really is part of it. You'll predominantly be fighting on rooftops, a team might start pushing you, and then you've got to make the decision as to whether you're strong enough to take them on, or whether to get the hell out of there. As a newbie, I'd suggest playing it safe to begin with, but hey, you only learn from your mistakes. A couple of tiny negatives would be the few bugs I've experienced, but I've maybe restarted the game twice over my 10-hour play period. I also think the Bloodhunt developers may have missed the opportunity for the zone to be the sun coming up and light spreading through the city. Just an idea, Sharp Mob Studios. I should also mention that being a free-to-play game, there is a battle pass you can purchase and there are different costumes to also buy, but in comparison to most free-to-play games, I all think it's pretty mild. You don't need to spend a single penny to be the best at this game, though being as good as it is, I would consider spending money on it, and that's a big deal for me. Overall, the concept is great, the movement is really smooth, the game looks brilliant, and the actual gunplay and use of powers is incredibly enjoyable. If I had to give this a rating, it's a solid 9 out of 10 for me. A few teething issues like anything else, but overall this game is incredibly enjoyable. So if you're a fan of Battle Royales, this really is a fantastic alternative, and like I said, it's only in its beta stage, so who knows what the future holds. Potential new maps, new classes, new powers, new guns, different modes, who knows. I'm thoroughly excited for the future of this game, it could be huge. Thanks for watching guys, if you liked the vid and found it useful, a like and a comment to help me beat that YouTube algorithm would really help me out. And for future gaming guides with me, just hit that subscribe button. I'm Inside George, and I'll hopefully catch you legends in the next one.